Let's take a look at the control structure while and do while. We'll go into Visual Studio and we'll create a data structure to manipulate. Let's call it list. And we'll make that equal to an array of numbers and just some arbitrary values. And I'm going to want to have an index into that list. We'll start off at 0. And now I want to loop through some code, but I want to stop when a condition is true as opposed to a certain number of times. So while, let's call it accumulation, of list sub index is less than 200. So I'll create a definition for accumulation. And it really doesn't matter what the definition of that is. The point is that somehow, over time, that gets bigger, and I want to continue executing my loop as long as that accumulation is less than 200. So I don't know how many that will be. I have no idea necessarily how big the list is. It's not a counted iteration, it's a conditional iteration. And this particular loop doesn't even need a body, because every time I execute the loop, I want to iterate index, so I can just do a postfix there. And I don't really need the body of that while loop at all. So it is possible to have a while loop that has no body, it just has a condition. If I did want to have a body, so let's just say for the sake of argument that I needed something in there, like let's say an output statement. It could look something like that. So we'll run the code, and we can see our various values, and we know that those added together is less than 200, but the next value in the list would have pushed us over our accumulated total of 200. So a while loop has a condition at the top, and if that condition is met, in other words, if the expression generated is true, then we will execute the body of the loop. If the expression generated is false, then we don't execute the body of the loop. On the other hand, a do-while loop always executes the body of the loop at least once, and then once the loop has been executed once, we do the test. And that's why the while is at the bottom. And you'll note that typically the way this is written, you put the curly brace and the while on the same line, because if you put it on different lines, it's visually indistinguishable from a while loop that has a condition but no body. And we saw before, you can certainly have a while loop that has a condition without a body. So usually written like this. All right, so if you have the situation where you have to process the body of the loop at least once before you can even check the condition, then you want a do-while loop. So for example, let's say that you are processing input. So here we have an example where I cannot generate any output without something from the user. So I have to do the body of the loop once, at least once, before I can do any output. And then at the bottom of that loop, I'll test to see whether or not I want to attempt another execution of the loop with a condition. And then we run that code. And in this case, if we get a string length of 0, we exit the loop. So that's the while and the do-while loop.